Well, hi everybody. Today we're going to make a cool summertime dessert that's easy. So I know no one has a whole heck of a lot of time. I certainly don't. And it's so daggum hot outside, so who wants to heat up their oven? I don't. So what we're going to do today, we're going to make something involving an old tried and true. You know, this stuff has been around since like the late, well, not in its current form probably, but it originated something like in the 1800s or something, late 1800s. Some guy, or it might have been early around 1910, somewhere in there. Some guy had invented this and his neighbor saw something in it and bought it from him for next to nothing, and then expanded the brand, and then he sold it and all kinds of crazy stuff. So anyway, I did a little research on jello, and so that's what we're going to make today. We're going to make a strawberry pie that is more of an icebox pie, what my grandma would call it, an icebox pie, something that doesn't require going in the oven. So first thing we're going to do, I brought my hot plate over here, so I thought this might have better lighting than over here on my stove. My lighting in here is terrible, but the reason we have to have the lighting like it is because we've got thermal curtains on the windows because it is so hot, and they block out a lot of that heat and sunlight coming in the summertime. So, whew, yeah. All right, first thing we're going to do is we've got 1.5 cups of water, and we're going to add this 1.5 cups of water. And I'll bring the camera over after we get these ingredients incorporated. This is not some super, well, it's not some uber over-the-top gourmet, you know, dessert, but it is good and it's cool, and that's what we need right now. 3/4 cup of sugar. So 1.5 cups of water, 3/4 cup of sugar. And then to that, we are going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And this is your thickener. In case anyone didn't know that, this is your thickener. Woo. I'm going to have to get my whisk out here in a minute. I forgot to grab it. 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And while I reach for my whisk, and try not to get this all over me, while I reach for my whisk, I'll bring the camera over so y'all can see. Now, while we get this after we get this done and cooling, then we're going to work on our crust, and then we'll be almost ready to put this thing together. And I'm not putting it in a traditional pie plate. I'm putting it in one of these. It's a square dish, and I love these things because it has a locking lid. Now this is glass, this is plastic, but this doesn't touch your food, so it's great for popping in the fridge, and you don't have to worry about wrecking the top of it with foil or plastic wrap or anything like that. So let me bring y'all over and get that whisk, and we'll get this going. Did a video for y'all last night, well, yesterday I should say, because it's tomato related, because I am in still in the world of tomatoes, but I'm almost done. I have some thawing in this sink here underneath this cutting board, and that I'm going to make, I think, barbecue sauce, perhaps. We'll see. And I'll probably make a video for y'all for that, and might make a little more ketchup. I'm not sure, but yeah. So on this, what we're going to do, we're going to stir this until it's incorporated. This is your sugar, 3/4 cup, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, that's a thickener, and 1.5 cups of just water. And we're going to stir this until we've gotten any lumps out, until that sugar has dissolved. And we're going to bring this up to a boil, and we're going to boil just for maybe a minute or so. And then we're going to take this off the heat. So let me get that portion done, and I will bring y'all back after we get ready for the next step. And this is what a cornstarch sugar mixture looks like. Very often this is similar to what you do when you make a lemon pie. A true lemon pie has a lot of cornstarch, and pretty much cornstarch, sugar, lemon juice, lemon extract. There's different variations. Lemon zest. and sugar, water, let's see what else. And yeah, and that, then you, maybe some food coloring if you really want it to look lemony. But yeah, that's pretty much all lemon pie is about. Now there are some variations, lemon cream pie and stuff like that. But all right, so we're boiling this for a minute. I talked to my son, and here it is the middle of summer, and he's going to try to make it home before the Army sends him overseas again. And I said, what meals do you want me to make? And he says, I want a pumpkin pie, Mom. So middle of the summer, and I'll be making a pumpkin pie because that's his one of his favorites. He likes pumpkin and lemon. Okay, so I have boiled this for about a minute, and it is boiling away on this little hot plate here. And I'm going to just set this off the hot plate, and then we're going to get this guy out of our way, and I'm going to carefully move this hot plate over to my stove and get it out of our way so I don't burn myself. Okay, next thing we're going to do while this is hot and it's just clear. It's kind of a clear, cloudy, kind of, I don't know, clear around the edges, cloudy in the middle. So what we're going to do next, we're going to stir in this strawberry jello. This is what I would call the family size. This is the 6-ounce size of strawberry jello. Now you could use, you know, any flavor you want. You could add any fruit you want. My husband happens to be a strawberry fan, so that's what we're going to do. You know, a lot of strawberry pies too, when you make them, not necessarily strawberry jello, but you use cornstarch and do a similar thickened base, so to speak. Cornstarch, sugar, and water. That's pretty much a lot of things that you get a base for on making fruit pies. Not all of them, but some of them. You can do like a strawberry gelatin glace, or whatever they call it, glace pie. I don't know how to pronounce that. All right, so we're just going to stir this up and get that jello combined so it's not gritty. All right, and I'm going to set this aside and let it cool down. And that's it on that part. Once it cools down to like room temp, we're going to incorporate all of these sliced strawberries here. Now, full disclosure on the strawberries, these are frozen strawberries. I don't have any fresh ones, so we're just going to let this cool down to room temp. When it does, then we're going to stir these strawberries in. So we'll do that last. Next thing we're going to do is work on our crust. Now, a lot of folks would probably buy a graham cracker crust in a pie tin, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to use these vanilla El Cheapo cookies that I got at Walmart. And I am not going to do like most recipes would require, and that would be adding some crushing these up, adding some melted butter, pressing it in, and then maybe baking it for 10 minutes. I'm not going to do that. Last time I made a crust like that with Oreo cookies, my husband said it was too hard. So I'm just going to crush them up, and we're just going to put them on the bottom. I don't know. I'm on the fence whether I want to put some melted butter on them or not. I don't know. I don't think I will. And that way, when he spoons it out, he'll just have those crackers. Now they will get a little soggy, and I'll probably put some on the top. But that was his feedback, is that that the crust was too hard. So that's why we're going to do it this way. But again, most people are going to do a graham cracker crust on this little pie dessert. Most people are going to do, if you did a chocolate variation with chocolate, you could probably, well, I don't know if that would work, but if you did other variations, you could do a graham cracker crust, you could do a crust like this, you could use other type of cookies that kind of stuff. But this is how we're going to do ours. Okay, let's plug this bad boy in, and this thing is going to be loud, so I will probably kill the sound on this and forward the video to where I'm not blasting y'all out. I'm going to use about 20 of these cookies. I just know that from having made the Oreo crust not long ago. I used about 20, and that's what I'm going to use here. So there's 4. Here's 18, and here is 20. I know what I was going to say. If you had like a lemon flavored jello type, I think they make lemon. You could get these lemon flavored cookies like this, and that would also be good, and make your crust out of those. Yeah, that would be really good. All right, let me put this back in here so we're not jumping out. We don't have any escapees. All right, I'm going to pulse this and get this crushed up. Man, how did I live without one of these before I bought one? Good golly, I don't even know. Made a mess there. Oh well, I've got my sous chef in here. He's on floor cleanup right now, so he'll help me out with that. Tap that off of there. Let's get this lid off of here without breaking it. All right, so we just got those just, you know, they're just loose. Just cracker or cookie crumbs at this point. All right, now we are going to put this in the bottom, and I'll probably reserve some to sprinkle on the top also. Makes more sense to put melted butter and make a crust out of this, but you know, you guys don't live with who I live with. So, bless his heart. He's a picky little booger. All right. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to do anything else to that. That's just those vanilla cookies. All right, let's see. Get this out of our way. We're nowhere close. So we need to let this cool, folks, and then we'll be back to assemble, incorporating these strawberries into our base. We're going to pour that on top, and then we're just simply going to finish out the topping. Easy peasy icebox dessert. I was listening to something the other day about canned vegetables and why the prices have gone up so much. And it's sure all the input costs have gone up, but the price of the cans have simply gone up, the actual packaging. So that's part of the reason the price has gone up so much. And so that's considered a budget food, you know, for most people, is canned vegetables. It's all I was ever raised on. We never had fresh corn, fresh green beans. Every vegetable we ever ate came out of a can. It's just the way it was. So grandparents raised a garden, and, you know, we would have stuff that my mama canned up. But once that was gone, it was canned food, and my mother never canned anything, ever. So, yeah, ate a lot of canned foods from the grocery store. So anyway, yeah, that's why they say a lot of the reason they're going up so much. But this is a fairly budget-friendly dessert. You know, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of water, a little bit of cornstarch. Cornstarch don't cost that much. Now, those strawberries are frozen. They're not fresh. I didn't grow any this year. I hope to maybe try to grow some next year once we get more infrastructure in place. Cookies were the Walmart brand. You could use graham crackers. You could use whatever you prefer. I grabbed these because, yeah, the cost. So, and then we are going to put some whipped topping on top. The best thing about a dessert like this in the summertime is you really don't have to turn on your oven. Again, Most of the time you're going to put melted butter on this and put it in the oven for about 10 minutes. But my husband said the crust was too hard last time, so I'm not going to do that. It'll probably end up too soggy. That's what he's going to find this time. So we'll probably end up next time going back to the regular way. But I'm not going to bake it this time for him. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's put this together. And these strawberries have thawed out. And I'm going to incorporate those into our gelatin mixture that has cooled to room temperature. So let's get that going. I've got a few of those cookie crumbs that I am going to sprinkle on top once we get to that point. And now we're going to add these strawberries into this mixture here. So essentially we're going to have almost like a strawberry pie, you know, and again, a lot of times when I've had strawberry pie, people have made them and they've had just a cornstarch gelatin type, not jello, but a cornstarch type base. And oh man, that looks beautiful. It looks great. Let me show you guys. Just a beautiful, beautiful color. And it has cooled to room temp. And then also those strawberries still were a little bit cool from being in the freezer. Now they were thawed out, but they were still a little bit cool. So what I learned when I was reading up on jello, it was 1850 that jello was first patented. So this isn't a new convenience food. So it was 1850 when the gelatin type item for using in cooking was patented, like in 1850. It didn't come around to being used in a different sense until like the late 1800s, early 1900s. And so I found that interesting that this whole idea has been around for a long, long time. Now I'm sure today there's all kinds of crazy things in a lot of these packaged processed foods, but I ain't gonna lie, I'm going for convenience here, and I'm going for the fact that it's, you know, 100 degrees outside, and I can't be turning on my oven here in our little house and heat it up and make it just absolutely miserable in here. So, all right, so let's get this going. So now we're gonna just simply put our strawberry filling on top. How easy is this? Kind of distribute them strawberries to where, you know, one side isn't more thick with strawberries than the other. Now you could use different fruit. You could use different flavored jello. You could use raspberry maybe if you had some raspberries. You could even put some blueberries in here. That would be good. But we're going with strawberries. That's what my husband prefers. And now we're going to put this in the fridge and let it set up a little bit. And then we'll come back and do the last step. All right, folks. So this is all gelled up in the refrigerator. Oh, man, this is going to be so good. So check it out. It doesn't jiggle like jello, but that jello sets it up like a good firm pie filling. So do you see that? Oh, and it smells so good, so much like strawberry. So now I'm going to put Cool Whip all over the top of this. You wouldn't have to do that. You could do it per serving if you had someone that wasn't super crazy about Cool Whip. I'm going to go ahead and do the whole thing before it goes back in the fridge. But for purposes of our video, I'll just dish some out and then dollop some over the top. And then I reserve some of those cookie crumbs. Once I cover this whole thing, I'll just dust those over the top. And so we'll give this a shot and see what it tastes like. All right, so let's see what we got here. It's nice and firm, so that's great. Oh my goodness. Oops. I'll let y'all see this before the Cool Whip goes on. See how it's just a nice thick consistency. Now let's try a little dollop of Cool Whip. And again, I am going to cover this entire thing with Cool Whip before it goes back in the fridge. So I'll show y'all that part before we get out of here. We'll take a look at that. And I'm going to just dust a few of these over the top. And that's what we got. Now maybe some coffee. So what a great summertime treat. Nice and cool. Didn't have to heat up the house. No turning the oven on. So just really, really great. So let's give this a try and see what we got. I mean, who doesn't like well, some people don't like strawberries, but I like strawberries. Oh man, nice and cool. And folks, it is blazing hot here in Texas. Let me look at our little weather station over here, and I'll tell you how hot it is right now. Woo-wee! It is 95 degrees outside. I went out earlier and I did some watering, and man, it was before noon, and I had to, come in, take a shower, change clothes because I was just soaking wet. So that's our temps here in Texas. Oh man, y'all need to make you one of these. So that was so easy. What we have, about 3 cups of frozen sliced strawberries that we had thawed out, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1.5 cups of water, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Got all of that melted down, and then boiled that solution without the berries, of course, boiled that for a minute, and then added this family size box of strawberry jello, and getting it all over me, and then let that set up on top of that cookie crust and in the fridge. And man, folks, this is what a nice surprise. You forget about good old jello in the summertime. There's so many different things you can do with it to make a nice, refreshing dessert. I'm sure my husband's going to love this because he loves strawberries and loves Cool Whip. So anyway, as always, folks, y'all say a prayer for our military and keep the faith. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.